Welcome to day 29 of my 3D tutorial series. First of all, I'm going to do some housekeeping. If you join me this far into the tutorial series, please refer to my website www.andrewboothie.com. Halfway down, my first 4 videos is located. Also, my other tutorials is located on my tutorials tab. If you require any assistance or any critiquing, please contact me on my email address a.boothie@outlook.com. You can also contact me on this email address if your studio requires a 3D artist. Alternatively, you can follow me on Twitter @AndrewBooth3D, and this is what my Twitter account looks like. So now, as you can see, I got my reference up for the food mixer. As we've been working on in the past tutorials, we've been working on the food mixer. Now, between this lesson and the last, I've been working on retopologizing it. Now, I know I didn't show you how to do that. It's a long process. I showed you last time the basis of doing it. Basically, calm down topology, making it more efficient, straighten out the edge loops just by doing that, by scaling down to the center, and it straightens it out, like this line here. You can do that and it straightens it completely, and you can do that to all the edge loops, but bearing in mind, not edge loops are not naturally straight. It follows the contour of the model. That's why, as you can see, this is odd shape, because it follows the contours that I want it to follow. Also, I added an extra loop here. It did make it into a quad, but I thought it'd be best to add an extra edge loop there. When it comes to modeling, as an artist, you got to feel what's right at the same time as doing a procedure that's correct. This is what it's all about. I didn't go, I don't need to go into much detail because we did that in the past previous tutorials, so there's no need to go back into that. This part of the tutorial series is more about advanced skills and stuff like that, so that's what I did between the lessons, so we can get this actually finished. This is now a more finished topologized model compared to others. It's neat, it's tidy, and the edge loops is more efficient, as you can see. So now we're going to be working on this bit here, the base. As you can see, it starts off here. Now, I'm going to do another procedure that I haven't done here, and it's called, if I can find it, mesh booleans, and then we use either any one of these to get the shape we want. A boolean is like it's cut into it using a pre-existing shape. So what we'll be doing, we'll be using this shape here. Before I go any further, I want to take away that and loop here, because it doesn't make sense. This edge loop here, I'm going to delete that one. As you can see, even though I've done it in between lessons, I'm still not happy with it. Sometimes you'll get models like that where you're just not happy the way it's turned out, and you're constantly re-editing it, changing it. But like anything, like any kind of artist, that's what you do as a natural, you know, it's the natural process. As you can see, this made an end gone, so we just cut it up again, like so. There you go. That made it a good topology that way. As an artist, you just do what you feel is correct, using your experience, just like you do in painting. When you paint something, you feel out, you feel your artwork, and this is what it's all about. You know, seeing as an artist, seeing where you can make improvements to make that improvement. Sometimes it does not always pay off. You've got to really look at your artwork in all directions. You know, ask yourself, is this from the correct contour? Is this right? So on and so forth, making sure it's correct. Now I'm happy with that now. What I'll do though, I want to reduce this size of this face, but as you can see, the actual axis is not correct. The actual scale tool does not follow it. So when you scale it, it deforms the actual asset. There is a way around it. First of all, you can rotate it around like that, and then it makes it slightly better. There is another way. If you go to the tool settings, where it says object, axis rotation object, if you turn that to world, it'll still do it. But because these are doing rotations compared to axes, to the axes. So the object is based on the actual object itself. The world will be based off the world axis, and then you have someone's component. Component is the actual object that's selected. So as you can see now, it's following the line of the contour. So now when we scale it down, it scales it uniformly more better than other scale you know, rotations. Then if you want to just go back to the default, just press reset and it resets it. So that's a nice little trick to pull off. Same when you're doing a large area like this. Let's say you want all this flat, but as you can see, it's got a little bit of a slant to it. Actually no, this side's better to do that. As you can see, if I select all these faces, like so, you want them all to be straight, you know, flat, consistent, but it's on the slope. If you turn it to component, it may correct it. There you go. So now it's on a slant, but now they're all now flat. Same to this side here as well. That's a way around it. But bear in mind, it's too unnatural, because even on man-made stuff, nothing's that flat, so it looks more natural to have a non-flat like that. So you follow your instincts, follow what's correct, and you know what works in your eye for your project. Reason I say that is because all objects are slightly different. You will never ever get the same thing according to your reference. A reference is only a guide. It's only a guide, so when you create an object, you just follow the guide, but you use your own creativity to create your object. You know, just like you do when you paint. So now, like I said, we're working on this top bit here. As you can see, it's the same width to this top bit to here. And the same to the other side, so pull it back about here and pull this out till it meets the end like so. Also, I'm gonna bring this up like so, then insert an edge loop. What we're basically going to be doing, we're now cutting it in half. As you can see here, it's got a lip here. It doesn't go straight into flat like so. It creates a lip here. And the same thing on this side. So we need to split it into 3. To do that, it's number edge loops. So that make 2. So we need to turn it to 2 like so. So it creates now 3 separate, sections. With such, we select the first one, and extrude it down. Now, if looking at the reference, I say that is a tad too long, so reduce it slightly. Like so. And pull it down. So now what we need to do as you can see on the reference, it pulls in on itself. So select this edge and this edge here. Actually, I'm going to insert another edge loop here. I'll pull it back to turn it to relative distance from edge and drag up to here. Now you're probably thinking, why am I inserting another edge here? Well, it's quite simple. We're now going to pull in this edge here and this edge here. If we did that, went along with that, what would happen? All this will be pulled into it, just like so. So when we pull it in now, it's literally now pulling in and keeping the top, topology correct. At this stage, this is just blocking out, so we don't necessarily need to worry about the actual shape. But we do need to create that bend. So this needs to be pulled in just as much as well. Like so. With that, pull this down. It has to be covering the curve. That's the whole idea. We'll be using this as the main shape to define this. So what we need to do, as you can see, we don't need to worry too much now because it's over the loop and so on and so forth. It's in the correct position to do the procedure what we need to do. Center it slightly and lower. There you go. First of all, what we're going to do, we're going to group them. And then duplicate. Having the duplication selected, select group, create layer from selected. We name it mixer. We can even assign a color, like so. And as you can see now, that is our mixer. Now there is a reason being we're using that. When we use the boolean, it's basically using like a variable value to cut out like a positive and negative, so we can determine out of using these booleans what that cutout will be. We can use intersection, union, or difference. So as you can select it, this is union, so it's combining both together like so, but that's not what we want. To undo it, you have, so the union will combine both together as a boolean. When you go to difference, it cuts out the difference from the second selection. Since this is the first selection and this is the second, it'll basically just cut this box out of this. What we need, I do believe, is intersection. Basically where this is an intersection with that, with the second object. So first of all, we need to combine these two together. Combine it under mesh and combine, so it's now as one object. Select the top as the first and the second as the thing we're going to intersect with. As you can see, that's the wrong direction, so we can go difference, intersection, edge, difference. As you can see, each one is completely different to each one. But if we delete these edge faces like so, this is now the base. You know that curve that we made from the food mixer? So now it's not a perfect strategy to do. Some people would, suggest avoid using it because it creates a messy topology, as you can see. But I like to use it in this instance because I want a perfect boolean. I want a perfect cutout of this. And this creates that perfect slot. So now we've got the basis of it. We topologize it. This is where it comes to now. Just re-topologizing it. That's all it matters now. Just with topologizing it, fixing it. Like we don't need. Do we need that edge loop? We got that edge loop, so we just straighten out. We got an edge loop here. That's not needed. As you can see, you've got to be very careful what you're doing when you're using this kind of technique, because it can be very messy, as you can see. I know what's happening. What's happening is because the original object was of two meshes that wasn't combined. It's making it messy like this. But it can be easy fixed by using the pen tool and appending it. This technique, like I say, many people don't advise using it. As you can see, it can create a load of problems. It really can cause a load of problems. But if you know how to fix the problems, then use it. It can be messy. It can be messy. What I'm going to do, I'm going to delete all my history, because I've got to think that's what's causing my issue here. As you can see, it's correct the problem. Sometimes if you come into problems like that, it's better to delete the history, then go back into it, so that you'll notice in a lot of the 3D art that you do, it's a lot of repetitives. You have to do a lot of repeating of techniques. As you can see, just by doing what I'm doing, I fixed a lot of the problems. Like so. A pen tool, as I said the last time, takes two polygons and creates a polygon in between. So take this edge and then take this edge and create a polygon between them. And it's appending it, as you can see. Now, since this is underneath, we don't actually need this edge loop here. We can just drag that across, like so. And just basically retopologize it, make it more neater, make it more sense. As you can see, we've got an edge loop, you know, the line actually cuts in there. So what I'm going to do, and then cut this entire edge loop here. It's not needed. Like so. Like I said, it can cause problems, especially at first, but just by, you know, working on it, you can really get good results. So I'm almost done. You probably think to yourself, why are you deleting all faces like that? Well, the truth is, it's better to delete it and then append it, knowing that it's fixed, than having to really, you know, redesign it and had to fix an entire problem. It's quicker and it's more efficient sometimes. So once you've done that, again from last time, as you remember, if you delete this corner, it would make it into a triangle. So be careful what base you do use. What I'm going to do, I'm going to delete this entire edge loop because it's messy. Then select this edge loop to this edge loop, straighten out and pull it outwards. I'm going to do the same this one. Like so. Select this edge loop to here, straighten it out and pull it back outwards like so. And now it's a case of reappending it. Just reappending it. Now, we're just after the curve, so we don't need these edge loops. As such, we can delete them because we are just after the bend, the arch. So now it comes to appending. To reappend to here, like so. Don't worry too much about the topology. Just make sure they all the edge loops are connected, because we can we topologize it in a later date. That's not the issue. The issue is to append the edge loops like so. So now we have a nice little arch where it fits perfectly into the slider. Because if you remember, there's curve down, up and down, but that's too steep. So what I do, use these two, pull upwards. To be honest with you, now seeing the results like this, what I'm going to do, because now, as you can see, the ones that was used to create this is no longer there. That's because it's what's built this arch. We used that geometry to cut away from here. So this was the duplication. So this is now the original. So now, seeing the way it is, I'm going to scale this outwards like so. As I said in the previous tutorials, as a 3D artist, you'll always constantly be reworking into your designs. There you go, that's much better. Then all you need to do is get these and drag it out like so. There you go. So now I'm going to pull it down. There, perfect fit. Because now you've got to think, when we rotate it, it's being rotated on this axis. So, see? In fact, I'm going to make it wider. Then use the edge loop here, in here, and pull them. Edge loop there and there. Pull it out. There you go. Perfect. So when we put it into place, remember, as a food mixer, this bit here is going to rotate up and down to allow the bowl to be moved, and things to be changed. So it requires a pivot. As you can see, it creates a pivot. This is what the movement is needed. So that's working perfectly. So now we can work into the other basic elements. Don't forget it is round, but we only do that in the last step because we use the bevel tool for that. So now if you look at the design, this bit points out. So select this and then extrude it outwards like so. And then we're going to be pulling this slot up. There you are. And if you look on the design, there's only a little section here. So when you select here, remove the edge loop here and then extrude this section here. Now if you look on the food mixer, we can see it's to the same distance to the nut here, so that's fine. Always be careful not to select the background components like so. It can be a bit tricky. This needs to be high up again. This is where a lot of the instincts come from, you know, working out, okay, what needs to be what needs to be changed, what needs to be altered, how much by. Does this look okay? They are the questions that you need to constantly ask yourself. Now if you look on the food mixer, that's fine. That's fine. A little gap there, that's fine. You know, like I said, we're just looking at the basic elements, breaking it down into a box, and then altering the boxy shape next time. Offset by 4. Now if you look on the actual resource, you got this bit here, which is the dial. So it's a square. And that's what you do. We do the same to this. First of all, I'm going to isolate it. And all I'm going to do on this instant is I'm going to seal it up. First of all, I'm actually going to use the edge loop. Pull this up a tad. And then use the append tool to append this. So we start off there, we pull it across like so. Just keep appending it and pressing G to repeat because what we're doing, we're creating a bowl, and a bowl has, you know, a sealed bottom, as you can imagine. So we need to create that bottom. There we are. So now this is where you have to think, what do we actually want from here? Because a lot of this will not be shown. So selecting this edge, we can pull this up. And leave it as that. Let's create a rim. This bit is going to be metal. Actually, first of all, edge loop. Select edge loop and bring it inwards just a tad. Because now it's creating a thickness. Actually, I'll drag it down slightly. Yeah. This is where you got to think what is needed and what's not. When we're in the scene as a whole, you're not going to get right up close. You're only going to see up to here. You know, you're not going to explore inwards. You're not going to explore into the bowl. So it's going to save topology just to leave it about there, so it's below the rim line, and even then we can actually delete it. Like so, and just have a rim, because all this is going to be metal, but you're not actually going to be looking inside. So this is a trade-off. What do you want to be seen? I think this is a good opportunity to have it like that myself. So now, next time, I think I'll leave it here. Tomorrow will be, you know, working back into this, carving it, making it into a more of the shape, the actual top of the mixer shape. We'll be working on the bowl, so it's more like a bowl shape. Pardon me. Yeah, we'll be making it look like more of a bowl shape, and then we'll be starting to talk about exporting, and you know, and ready for Substance Designer. So thank you for watching me today. Hope you enjoyed it, and join me tomorrow.